Right now, somewhere in the world, a grown adult is spending real money to throw an axe at a wooden target. Another one is paying to be locked in a room and solve puzzles. Millions of people are watching other people play video games. Someone is willingly getting into an ice bath. Someone else is standing in a field, hitting a small ball, and then walking to find it. We do the strangest things for fun. And we always have, because here is what I want you to sit with for a second. It is tempting to think that fun is a modern invention, that it needed money and free time and technology and safety, that our ancestors were too busy surviving to mess around, that before all our gadgets and games, human beings just sort of existed, waiting to be entertained by the future. That is completely hilariously wrong. Ancient humans had fun, serious fun. They played games with rules they took to their graves. They got dangerously competitive. They pulled pranks. They danced until they collapsed. They made music, told rude jokes, painted their bodies, gambled, wrestled, tattooed themselves, and invented entire sports thousands of years before anyone thought to write any of it down. And some of the things they did for fun are so weird, so human, and so wild that when archaeologists dug them up, they could not believe what they were looking at. So, this is a video about the fun stuff. The oldest games. The first parties. The prehistoric version of a bad idea at 2 in the morning. Because the more you learn about what ancient humans did for fun, the more you realize something a little unsettling and a little wonderful. They were not the boring ones. We might be. Before we get to the good stuff, let us kill the excuse. The idea that ancient humans were too busy surviving to have fun. They were not even close. When anthropologists went and measured how hunter-gatherer societies spend their time, they found something a bit insulting to the rest of us. Getting everything you need to survive took something like a handful of hours a day. Not 16, not 12. A few. And after that, the day was yours. Think about what that means. Your ancestors were basically finished by early afternoon, with the whole rest of the day, plus a long evening by the fire, and nothing scheduled. No emails, no commute, no second job. Just hours and hours of open, empty time every single day for thousands of generations. Now, give any group of humans that much free time and no entertainment industry, and what happens? They make the entertainment. They invent it out of whatever is lying around. Rocks, bones, sticks, their own bodies, and each other. Fun is not something that got invented once we had spare time and money. Fun is what humans automatically do the moment they are not busy. It is a default setting. So the question was, never did they have fun. The question is, what do you invent when you are bored, clever, and the only tools you have are stones and imagination? Turns out, a lot. Starting with the thing humans still cannot stop doing. Here is a fact that should surprise you. Some of the oldest board games we know of are thousands of years old, and people took them so seriously that they were buried with them. Let that land. Someone died, and their family thought he would want his game. That is not a casual hobby. That is the kind of love you would expect for someone's most treasured thing. In ancient tombs, archaeologists have found game boards laid out with their pieces, sometimes beautifully made, placed carefully next to the dead. Because apparently the afterlife was going to need a games night. And it is not just boards. Long before fancy carved games, humans were playing with knuckle bones, the small ankle bones of animals, which happen to land in a few different ways when you toss them. Sound familiar? Yes, those are dice. Some of the earliest dice humans used were literally bones from dinner, turned into a gambling tool. And that is the real punchline. The moment humans had a way to make a random result, they started betting on it. Gambling might be almost as old as gaming itself, because the second you cannot predict something, some human will say, "I bet you cannot do that twice." Then there is the competitive stuff, which gets very physical. Wrestling is one of the oldest sports on Earth, and you can see it in ancient art. Two figures grappling, exactly the way two friends still do at a party today. Running races. Throwing contests. Who can throw a spear or a stone the farthest? Which is basically the javelin and the shot put invented purely for showing off. Swimming, jumping, target practice. Every one of these is a survival skill turned into a game, which is such a human move. Take the thing that keeps you alive, strip out the danger, add rules, keep score, and now it is fun and you can beat your friends at it. And here is the part I love. All of this, the games, the dice, the wrestling, the "I bet I can beat you," served a hidden purpose. In a small group where your life depended on everyone's skill and everyone's loyalty, games were how you tested yourself safely, built bonds, sorted out status without anyone dying, and let off steam. Every serious researcher who studies play says the same thing. Play looks pointless, and it is actually one of the most important things a social species does. So they played games. Constantly. But games need daylight and energy. What about at night, when the fire was lit and everyone was together? That is when things got loud. Picture a fire, a group of people, a full belly, and a whole night ahead. What happens? Music happens. Dancing happens. And it happened far earlier than most people realize. We have flutes. Actual, carefully made musical instruments carved from bone, tens of thousands of years old. Someone sat down in the Ice Age and carefully drilled finger holes into a hollow bone to get the notes they wanted. The notes they wanted. Think about those priorities. This person did not need a flute. Nobody was going to eat better because of a flute. But they wanted music badly enough to spend hours of skilled work making an instrument, because a night around the fire is better with a tune. That is not survival. That is a party. And where there is music, there is dancing, which may be even older than the instruments, because you do not need anything but a body and a rhythm. Clapping, stomping, chanting, hitting a hollow log. Some of the oldest cave art seems to show rows of figures in motion, arms up, apparently mid-dance. In every culture on Earth, humans dance, and they especially dance together, in groups, in time. And there is real science suggesting why it feels so good. Moving in time with other people fills you with a sense of connection and even dulls pain, which is why a crowd dancing to the same beat feels almost magical. Our ancestors found that trick tens of thousands of years before anyone built a nightclub. Then add the ingredient that turns a gathering into a festival. Across the ancient world, people threw enormous, deliberate parties. Feasts where they would bring together far more food and drink than anyone needed. Gather people from across the region and go for it. We find the leftovers of these events. Piles of animal bones from a single massive feast. Giant containers for brewing. Sites that seem built specially for people to come together and celebrate. Some researchers even argue that the desire to throw a good party may have helped push humans toward farming and settling down. That our appetite for feasting and gathering was not just a side effect of civilization, but maybe one of the engines of it, which, if true, is the funniest thing in all of prehistory. Humanity did not settle down to be sensible. We may have settled down partly because we wanted to have a proper get-together. Real quick, if you are enjoying this, do me one small favor and hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about the surprising truth of how our ancestors actually lived. And there is a new story every week. That is it. Back to the party. Here is something we badly underestimate. Ancient humans were vain, and they had a great time with it. Long before anyone had a mirror, people were putting serious effort into looking good. We find beads, tiny shells and animal teeth with holes carefully drilled through them, strung into necklaces, going back tens of thousands of years. And this was not a quick craft project. In some cases, people traveled long distances to get the right shells, then spent hours drilling each one with stoned tools. For jewelry. Purely to look good, they painted themselves too. Ochre, that red-brown mineral pigment, turns up at ancient sites constantly, sometimes ground up in what look like actual prehistoric makeup kits, complete with a shell to mix it in. Red for the body, patterns on the skin, maybe in the hair. Body paint is one of the oldest ways humans said, "Look at me," and, just as importantly, "Look at us," because matching decoration is also how you show which group you belong to. And then there is the one that always gets people. Tattoos. Yes, genuinely ancient. We have preserved bodies from thousands of years ago with clear tattoos on them. Deliberate designs poked into the skin and inked on people who lived long before anyone invented writing. Some of the oldest tattoos we know of belong to a man found frozen in the Alps, and his body carries dozens of marks. Whether they were for decoration, for healing, for spirit beliefs, or all three, one thing is certain. He sat there and let someone repeatedly poke ink into his skin on purpose. And so did plenty of others across the ancient world, which is such a wonderfully human detail. Between hunting and hiding from predators, our ancestors found time to accessorize, do their makeup, and get tattooed. If you have ever felt a bit silly spending an hour on your appearance, relax. It is a 100,000-year-old tradition. Now, for my favorite part, because this is where you realize your ancestors would absolutely have been making videos for the internet, sliding, climbing, jumping, and generally messing about. Kids everywhere, in every culture, in every era, do the same things. They climb what should not be climbed, they jump off things, they slide down things, they throw things at other things. There is no reason to think ancient children were any different, and plenty of reason to think adults joined in. Human beings find gravity hilarious, always have dares and showing off. Where there are young humans with free time, there are dares. I bet you will not. Watch this. Every group of humans produces a person who will do something unwise for the entertainment of others, and there is no version of history where that person did not exist. Somewhere back in your family tree, a guy climbed something too high because his friends were watching. Guaranteed. Pranks and messing with each other. Humor is ancient and universal, and a big chunk of human humor is being a menace to your friends. Teasing, copying someone behind their back, hiding someone's things, jumping out to scare them. These need no technology at all, and every human culture does them. Researchers studying small communities constantly note how much of the day is spent joking around, teasing, and laughing, often quite savagely. Your ancestors were funny, and they were probably brutal about it. Storytelling as the main event. And when the sun went down, the biggest entertainment of all, talking. Studies of the last hunter-gatherer societies found that daytime conversation was mostly practical business. But at night, around the fire, the huge majority of talk turned into stories, tales of far-off people, adventures, ancestors, myths, and jokes that had the whole camp laughing. The campfire was the streaming service, the comedy club, and the theater all at once. And unlike a screen, everyone was in it together. And, importantly, doing absolutely nothing at all. Sitting in the shade, watching clouds, grooming each other's hair while chatting, which sounds odd until you realize it is the ancient version of sitting on the sofa with someone you love, half talking, half relaxing. Not every good time needs an activity. Some of the best fun in human history has been lounging near people you like with nothing to do. Here is the part that turns all this from a fun list into something deeper. None of this was pointless. Fun, it turns out, is doing serious work. Games taught real skills without real risk. Sport turned aggression and competition into something that did not wreck the group. Dance and music brought people into sync, melted tension, and created that powerful feeling of belonging. Feasts and festivals brought scattered groups together, made alliances, found people partners, and built friendships across whole regions. Jokes and teasing kept egos in check. In a lot of small societies, mockery is the main tool for stopping someone getting too full of themselves. Body decoration signaled identity. Who you are, who your people are. And stories carried everything the group knew, wrapped in a package so gripping it could not be forgotten. So when ancient humans were just having fun, they were quietly building the whole social machine that let human groups work at all. Play is how a social animal practices being social. It is how you build trust in a world with no laws, no police, and no contracts. Nothing but relationships, tested and strengthened over years of games, jokes, dances, and feasts. Fun was not the reward for surviving. Fun was part of how they survived. Let us finish with the uncomfortable comparison because I cannot shake it. We have more entertainment in one pocket-sized device than every human before us had in their entire lives combined. Every song ever recorded. Every game, every film, endless video on tap forever. By any measure, we have already beaten every generation before us at entertainment. And yet, almost all of it we do alone, sitting still, watching other people do things. Our ancestors' fun was the opposite. It was something you took part in. You were the one playing, dancing, singing, telling the story, and the fun did not exist unless you joined in. It was social. Almost nothing was done alone. The whole point was the people around you. It was physical, bodies moving, wrestling, dancing, climbing. And it was creative. They had to invent their own entertainment out of bones and rocks and imagination, and there is a particular joy in that which pressing play will never quite match. So, no, I do not think they were the deprived ones. I think they had games they were buried with, music they carved by hand, parties big enough to leave a mark in the earth thousands of years later, jokes that made the whole camp roar, and long lazy afternoons doing nothing with people they loved. They had a great time with rocks. So maybe tonight, do something they would recognize. Play a real game with real people. Tell a story badly. Dance where someone can see you. Do something silly with your friends and let it be pointless. Because that is the oldest fun there is, and it is the only kind our ancestors ever knew. And honestly, they might have been better at this than we are. Fun was not invented by technology. It was invented by us a very long time ago, around a fire.